always taking your needs. Like I lead to the G, but stash your feet. And fly, got the G's to the G's. A full-wheel drive up in the street, and nice to me. Read your keys for release the beats. We face the east and keep it to the ether. Sleep and walk, slang talk. Get my flashlight and then I peep into the dark. Like the ark of the covenant. We discover it in the middle of the desert. In my heart, you dubbing it. Yo, take a picture, please frame photo. Got you to the land of fantasy like Toto.
And how'd it go? I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Alcohol, gas y un gran golpe de sabor a fruta. Truly Hard Seltzer Beverage Company, Boston, Massachusetts.
1.9.
Feed Your Happy. Available for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
What's bigger than the flavor of new Truly Punch Hard Seltzer? Nothing. In 4 delicious flavors with only 100 calories and 1 gram of sugar. It's Truly's biggest flavor yet. No one is just one flavor. Truly Hard Seltzer Beverage Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Vince Blum, the big guy at last year's Big Used Car Super Center. And I've got an offer you can't refuse. I want to buy your car. That's right, buy it. See, the last year Used Car Super Center offers top dollar to buy your car, and then we keep and sell only the best. That's why we're known as the Used Car Auto Mall inside the Oak Grove Auto Mall, because we've got the best cars and the best prices. In other words, buy cars right now. Find yours at the Lasher Used Car Super Center, the Used Car Auto Mall inside the Oak Grove Auto Mall, and online at lasherauto.com.
There could be more to your story with IBSC. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
We know that a clean car makes you feel good. We do the dirty work so you don't have to. Unlimited car washes are available with towel drying by hand, starting at only $24.99 a month. Wash as often as you want and upgrade to any full service by just paying the difference. At 5-Star Car Wash, we offer complete detailing services such as hand waxing, carpet cleaning, and headlight restoration. 5-Star Car Wash and Detail Centers with locations in Fairfield and Dagenham. Check our website for coupons and special offers.
Whether you're surfing for the best airplane fares for your next getaway or streaming movies during summer sleepovers, Wave gives you the fast, reliable internet you expect. Act now and you can get a $100 gift card when you sign up for Wave Gig Speed Internet. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds may vary. Gift card valid on Gig Speed Internet only. Not available everywhere. Visit GoWave.com.
It's pure poetry.
This is where the stars align, with the buttery sourdough, that decadent, elegant outer flow. Beef patty char-broiled in the bacon, awaken the senses. Each bite is perfection. I'm blessed when they summon the onions and dressing. The cheese is a flex, all the flavors so fresh. This is where I wanna be, where the taste is straight harmony.
The new sourdough star at Carl's Jr. Feed Your Happy. Available for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick! Sorry, kid!
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
It's time! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to a lot of good old boys all around the country. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all around the world. Just say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear, welcome to the show. I've been introducing myself as a sports universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Spotify. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You better have a smart TV. You'll be sitting there looking at us those pictures. I want to say bienvenidos, all fair and love and war. Really appreciate our Latin American audience. Also, the Benevidivice, he came, he saw, he conquered. All fair and love with my Italian friends. And I want to say for anyone going through any type of crisis, especially our military veterans. We give out the Military Veterans Crisis Hotline. It's also good for veterans and their loved ones. You know, anybody going through issues, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley Home Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Universe, TV of the first place, San Francisco Giants, and the Home Run King, as well as the Say Hey Kid. When you reach out to him, just tell him, you know the role. Charlton wants World Series tickets. It's all fair and love and war. Our goal is to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country, helping to put their property listings on the market and on television, just like McDonald's does it. Nike's doing it. Car dealerships are doing it. War sports teams do it too. TV and real estate can work for you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of the loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage, the #1 lender in the country on the wholesale side. I also want to say thank you to Big C Sports Podcast as Espy nominated, and I want to say thank you to Disney Corporation. Also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be Big C Sports Podcast. I mean, hold on. Let me back up. God said, let there be light. Some of my pastor friends, they don't even get the joke. I'm just joking. It's not blasphemy, but God said, let there be light. You can do the same thing. Open up your cell phone or your electronic devices, whether it's Alexa or Google, and just say play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see the app pop up from all over the world, and I really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. I also want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on you again. You can clap about that too. It goes great with the Big C Burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all these exotic meats? I love the exotic meats. I've been dreaming about exotic meats. If anybody's had something exotic to dream about, it's good when it's meat and not some other type of nefarious thing. But it goes great with the Big C Burger and also the Budweiser Zero. I really appreciate so many things going on in this great country, and I really do appreciate that every time that I'm telling you Espy nominated, and I look at so many of our other platforms all around the world, and again, anyone that can do this business, talking as much as I talk without shutting up. You talk too much, homeboy. You never shut up. I remember being told that by a girl that I dated when I was in high school. She said, you talk too much. I was naive. She wanted to kiss me. I had never kissed a woman. I mean, not the way she wanted to kiss. I was like a peck on the cheek. She tried to suck my tongue out my mouth. I was so kind of intimidated. That could be intimidating for a 17-year-old boy. Yeah, it's okay. It's all fair in love and war, but it's all fair in love and war. I do want to say Espy nominated, and the reason I say this, there are so many people that are changing platforms. People are going on from having co-hosts to doing it on their own, and then having call-in guests. And as I say to anyone that has a vote on the Espy or anything of that matter, it's important. I say it's time! Welcome to the show, Big C Sports! Okay, that's not my best Bruce Buffer, but I'm trying to do my best Bruce Buffer possible. What's all these exotic beats? Now listen to this. Let me say, let's get ready to rumble! That's more of the Bruce Buffer that I like paying attention to. It's all fair and love and war. Welcome to the show, Espy nominated Big C Sports Podcast, What Sports Show. I have no scripts. People say, yeah, some things are obvious, Charlton. I have no three-way teleprompters. Again, some things are obvious, Charlton. Didn't have to tell us that part. I have no producer in my ear. Yeah, again, very obvious, Charlton. Okay, you do it yourself. Do your own show and see if you can do this. I do it with God. I do it with the stats that my son Malcolm gives to me. Also, at times, my daughter Daisy. There are times when Big C's giving me stats. But I fly solo. We're born alone. We'll die alone. We're always going to prosper when you keep rising and shining. I honor God in every show that I do. I always pay homage to Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. But I ask anyone voting for the Oscars, because people in this business make between $1 million and $10 million a year. I just ask you, this is what Big C Sports does. I do it by myself. Number 1, I produce the show. Number 2, I direct the topics. Number 3, I broadcast the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects. The great Sam Jackson. What's all this exotic meats? I do the exotic meats on my own. I do the commercials outside of what the agency does. Number 6, I provide the stats. You know, stats are important. That's how you tell who's winning the game. And if someone is 15 or 20, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, I give that stuff. I do the storytelling. I talk about what's all this exotic meats because people want to know, man, what is this Big C burger? It is a tasty burger. And they all want to know about the exotic meats like I'm supposed to tell them. So I do the storytelling. Number 8, I also quote Bible verses. Hopefully someday, just like when people found Noah's Ark, maybe they'll find Big C Sports podcast reel somewhere floating out in the universe. And they'll hear that I was giving scriptures the whole time that I was doing my show. And then I upload every show to 15 multiple podcast platforms all over the world. The agency does it, but if I didn't do the show, there's nothing to upload. It's just like some people missed their airplane this morning because they showed up late. Or some people missed their plane this morning because the flight was delayed. Well, I've never been delayed on Big C Sports Podcast. Never missed a day. And keep that in mind as some people are on vacation. I even do my show when I'm on vacation because I'm driven. I love it like I love breathing. And just like that girl that tried to suck the tongue out of my mouth when I was 17, it scared me. I ran. How many guys run from having the tongue sucked out of the mouth? I thought she had a vacuum. She was sucking on my tongue so hard. And that can be scary the first time it happens. After about the 5th time, you're like, I understand. I understand. Sometimes parents just don't understand the great Will Smith. It's all fair and love and war. But I never missed a show. And I also upload to 4 television platforms every Monday through Friday all over the country. And maybe coming to Sirius XM satellite. I don't know if that's going to happen. But I have my own platform. Looking forward to that. Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that talks about God. In Genesis 13:15, listen up, young people. For all the land that thou seest will I give thee, and to thy seed forever. That's important. The book of James 4:2. I'm telling young kids, and I wish I would have learned this earlier, we have not because we ask not. So if you want something, just ask. The answer is either yes or no. You can't worry about if somebody's going to tell you yes or no. Your job is just to ask. If you got to put things in writing, just ask that question. I had a great brunch this weekend with my son, getting ready to go off to college, and I had the chance to sit down with him, and he said something that just made me laugh. It made me laugh so much, I still think about it. He said, Dad, you're really not that funny. So, and I thought, you know what, maybe he's right. But he laughed because he was joking with me as we were joking like we're both little teenage boys, all fair and love and war. Everson Griffin signs with the Minnesota Vikings, says he regrets leaving to sign elsewhere in 2020. That's NFL news. NFL Quarterback Council 2021, ranking the top quarterbacks in arm strength and accuracy, as well as decision-making. Dallas Cowboys go virtual as COVID-19 expands by 3 players. Everybody's saying you got to get your shots, and some players are getting their shots and some are not. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell on the Buffalo Bills' future. In Buffalo, I think a new stadium is what's needed. Now, how do you have some of the best fan base in the universe, and you're going to threaten them with leaving? I mean, how do we have to keep holding fans hostage if they don't come up with $1 billion? I'm trying to get $6 billion. If they don't come up with $1 billion, you're going to have them leave. I mean, people have a right to do what they want to do. But think about that, Buffalo Bill fans, if you decide not to buy a ticket. Major League Baseball, Atlanta Braves, Mike Soroka is on re-tearing his Achilles tendon after 9 months in rehab. That's really sad news for him. 9 months of rehab. He said he'll be stronger. And then you have the New York Yankees reliever, Zach Britton, suffers an injury setback and lands on the 10-day IL report. So all is fair in love and war. We got to keep grinding, keep on rising no matter what you do. But I want to say something also. For people who want to get their medications, there are things that you can do to get bigger, stronger, and faster. A lot of athletes know exactly what that means. Whether you're doing something legal or illegal, they check your glove when you're in baseball before you go out to the mound. They even check your jock strap. But for everybody, I think about some of the top comedians of all time, and it's a funny thing that happened to me because I think about if I were to say who are some of the top comedians of all time. When you think about it, there's a couple of them that stand out. To me, number one is Richard Pryor. There's also people that might like the great Bernie Mac. You know, Bernie Mac was very funny too. You know, Eddie Murphy's also very funny, a great comedian. The great Red Fox, maybe one of the best comedians of all time. But I want to say something to young people and older people too, from senior citizens. As I met with a lady today, I was getting some blood work, and they said everything's good. And they said, you must eat a lot of exotic meats. As they pulled my blood, they found a lot of exotic meats in my blood. It's all fair, love, and war, but I'm in good health because I get my checkups. But think about some of the top comedians all time. I wonder what it's like for them trying to get their medication from their pharmacy. This is a real story. I've been dealing with this for about a week because I'm always getting my checkups to make sure that I'm healthy. You always get your checkups before the car breaks down, if that makes sense to you. You don't want to see that Bentley parked on the side of the road, or because you were too busy getting exotic meats. What's all these exotic meats? All for a level work. So I went in for a blood pressure medication. Think about this. For some blood pressure medication, and they mistakenly gave me Viagra. I kid you not. What's all these exotic meats? They mistakenly gave me some Viagra. I didn't find out until about three weeks later. True story. I can't lay down. I've been up all night. Up all night. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, up all night. I was up all night like Lionel Richie all night long. And I'm telling you, I can't drive my sports car because things get in the way, if that makes sense to you. What's all this exotic meats? People stare at me when I'm out exercising. You know how uncomfortable that is when you're just going for a jog and people think you're going with a billy club in your pocket because the doctor gave me Viagra instead of blood pressure meds. I kid you not, people. It's people grabbing my arms. You know, women always say, well, they don't want to be bothered, like Deshaun Watson's in trouble because somebody said that he made them touch his private parts with their hands closed. Well, I was out jogging. I always jog every day, 7 days a week. And sometimes when you take a pause, people want to hold your arm. Like, you work out a lot, don't you? Well, not as much as I used to. But again, my doctor or my pharmacist, they gave me some Viagra instead of some blood pressure medication. I kid you not. I just thought it was all new use. I thought it was windy anyway, so why not? I didn't really notice no difference, if that makes sense to you. Yeah, I'm a 12-year-old boy on the radio. But every time I'm in the mall, and people might be used to this, especially black men, every time I'm in the mall, security is following me around like I stole something. It's not because I'm black, it's just because my pharmacy gave me the wrong medication. You know what? I'm just telling you because it's real. I was thinking, man, I've been working out, but everything's getting more stiff. I mean, it's a good thing when a man has you take the springs out of your car so the ride's a bit more stiff. Does make sense to you? And so, even a TV executive has asked me to look at a contract in her hotel as opposed to at her office. All because I was giving the wrong meds. I mean, people jump to all kinds of conclusions. I feel like Bob Baffert's horse. He didn't know what they were giving him. He's like, what's all this exotic meats? It's the same time. But they mixed up my blood pressure medication. And the serious thing about that, they all have all these commercials on TV for men. If you wanna act like you're 20-something years old, then they'll tell 90-year-old men to take Viagra, right? Because everybody wants to have, what's all this exotic meats? What's the use of having exotic meats if you can't enjoy? If that makes sense to you. And so I go back to the doctor, and I asked to get the right medication. I went over to the pharmacist. They were saying, well, we're going to give you, enough supply for 3 months. And then they only gave me a supply for 30 days. But on the label that the insurance paid for, the insurance company thinks they're paying for 3 months. So the pharmacist, she said, well, sir, are you sure you didn't run out of medication? Did you take too many medications? I say, that might explain why everybody's staring at me when I'm out for a jog. If that makes sense to you. Like, this guy runs with a gun, I'm always packing, but that's a different thing of packing. For everybody that wants to be sure when you're taking your pharmacy medication. Again, I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days because that stuff's been in my system. And it really does work. It keeps you up all night, all night long, like the great Lionel Richie. But sometimes you need sleep too. But just make sure, I was telling the pharmacist, you're giving me a 30-day supply, but this label says for 90 days. And so they tried to get me to pay out of my pocket. I said, wait a minute, it's covered by the insurance. She said, okay, well, I'm just going to give you this one after I called my doctor, and my doctor called in. And so I was there in line. You say, what's it got to do about sports? It has everything to do with sports. You got to know when you're being preyed upon. You got to know when you're being bamboozled, you're being hoodwinked. So the lady, I was in the drive-thru at the pharmacy, and they were saying, well, while we're trying to get this order right with the doctor, would you mind pulling forward and let the people behind you come up first? I said, no. I've been trying to get my meds for 8 days, and I've been up all night, if that makes sense to you, because they gave me Viagra instead of blood pressure medication. It made my blood pressure go up. It didn't make it go down. It's only comfortable for about an hour. After an hour, it's kind of too much, if that makes sense to you. Like, what are you trying to prove, is what some people say on their first or second dates. But think about this. The lady wrote in the number of pills she gave me, but the label from the insurance company was still for 90 days. She wrote down 30-day supply, so I took it back to my doctor, and I said, just in case there's any problem with my insurance company, if they think they already gave me 90 days and I'm only getting 30 days, when I come back for another prescription, they'll say, well, sir, we already gave you 120 days. You should have 60 days left. But because I didn't get the okie doke, I didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Herald Club this morning? I didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. But it looked like I had a banana sticking out my tailpipe because they gave me Viagra instead of blood pressure medication. It's funny until you start getting searched just because you're trying to leave the mall. You blame it on the pharmacy. That makes sense to you. But I went to my doctor. Make sure they're doing this right, because my doctor's name is on it. And it looks like to the insurance company, this guy's getting extra medication. And it was not. You know, one of the biggest problems in mainstream, this doctor's mainstream, in white communities, is kids are overdosing on opioids, pain medications, or it could be Viagra, whatever it is. Doctor gave me Viagra instead of blood pressure meds. I'm not saying the doctor did, the pharmacist did. And then when she tried to correct it, instead of printing a new label, like you would think so for something so important, she wrote it down with an ink pen. And then I said, could you mind putting your signature on here stating that you changed it, because you guys might say that I changed it. So she put her pharmacy doctor signature on the label. I went right over to my doctor. Everyone needs an ark in their life. I have a lot of arks in my life. You all need an ark. Noah's ark was an ark to get people through the flood. So I went to the doctor and let them know, I'm not robbing my insurance company. The label says they gave me 3 months supply. They really only gave me 30-day supply. And my doctor's secretary said, that's not right. And so she went and talked to the doctor. I had her take a picture. She couldn't take a picture, but they did write it down. She went back and spoke to my doctor, and he said he would note that in my chart in case the insurance company tried to bill me for getting excessive medication. I don't want to overdose. One of them even told me to go back home and bring in the bottle so he can see how much you get, as if I'm going to lie about something so serious. So after they fixed that, then I was able to go on about my day, and he said, just give about 4 hours and it sets aside. He said the storm will be over. It's time. But when you're taking Viagra medication instead of blood pressure, it's time. That's why I said on my date when I was 17, welcome to the show. Because, if that makes sense to you, it's all fair and level work. What's all this exotic means? So keep that in mind. Don't let people pressure you, telling you that you have to go home and prove that they gave you the right medication. I could imagine if the great Bernie Mac tried to get his blood pressure meds and they gave him Viagra, he'd go back and say, hey, doc, don't, give me just bear with me. I'm not the great Bernie Mac, the late great Bernie Mac. Hey, doc, I'm trying to get some of my blood pressure medication, and y'all gave me some stuff to keep me up all night. And he said, I can't sleep. Every time I go someplace or to a store, they want to pat me down. Always in the front, never the back. The great Bernie Mac. The great Bernie Mac was an American stand-up comedian, artist. He has a great voice. He's actually from the city of Chicago, the Windy City. Mac had appeared in many films and small roles. One of the most noted, his role was Frank Cotton in the remake of Ocean's 11. Think about what Bernie Mac had to deal with when they gave him Viagra instead of blood pressure medications. This stuff can happen. Again, everyone check your pharmacist. If people are saying in Middle America that Oxycontin, the late Rush Limbaugh, you have Oxycontin, if that's what's causing a lot of fatalities in Middle America, where do you think they're getting this stuff? Maybe pharmacists are billing insurance companies for 30 days or for 3 months and giving the patient 30 days. And maybe they're going out on their own market and selling stuff to people. Because I've had insurance for 16 years, the same insurance. My copay is like $5 if anything. And they told me I had to pay $100-something for something that was paid for by insurance. Because I'm smart, I caught it. How many people don't catch that? So for every doctor, make sure that you know what the pharmacist is giving out because your name is on that. Imagine the great Red Fox. I'm coming to see you, Elizabeth. I'm coming to see you. It was Sanford and Son. John Elroy Sanford, Red Fox. American comedian and actor. Remember, imagine he was best remembered for his explicit comedy records and his starring role in the 1970s sitcom Sanford and Son. He was known as the king of the party records. Imagine Sanford and Son going, hey, doc, I'm in here for some blood medication, and I'm trying not to go see Elizabeth just yet. And the doctor or the pharmacist gave Red Fox Viagra. And no wonder he kept grabbing his chest. Elizabeth, I'm coming to see you, honey. I'm coming to see you. Because they probably gave him Viagra too. And I might be flippant, but there are times we got to check on our parents and even on our own. On our own people, I mean your own, whatever you're taking. You know, there's a guy that just got out of the pen. Hello, Mrs. Jello, this is Bill Cosby. I met Bill Cosby one time when I worked as a skycap at the airport. You know, he didn't build, I met him, but it was my brother, Todd, that waited on him. You know, Todd carried a couple of Bill Cosby bags, and Bill Cosby gave him like $2. He didn't have to give him $2, but for a couple of bags when you have your entourage come in town, he said Bill Cosby was very cheap. I mean, Bill knows that. Hello, Jello pudding. So be careful. Bill Cosby went to the doctor to get some more Jello pudding, and they gave him some Viagra. No wonder he went to jail. He didn't know he was putting those women's drinks. Blame all the pharmacists. Think about the man went to jail because he thought he was putting some Jello pudding in the drinks, and it was Viagra. And they were up all night, and he ended up doing some time because of it. I'm just being flippant, but be careful about that. The great Bill Cosby Jr. is a stand-up comedian, actor, and author, activist. Cosby is considered one of the 25 best comedians of all time. The best of all time. That's all fair and love and war, but I wanted to tell that story about going to the doctor. Go see the doctor because men need to stay healthy. Don't just take your car to get a checkup. There are some men who would go take their car in for service and pay $100 for an oil change. And they won't go to the doctor to get their own blood pressure checkup. You got to do it, especially, I mean, everybody, of course, but I'm going to say especially a lot of men of color. Some people will tell me they don't believe in going to the doctor because they believe in praying for their health. You can pray for your health, but pray that they give you the right medication and not that you're just out there winging it and hoping that things are fine. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.
Thinking about how they're going to torture their kids or their grandkids with their dentures.
Seriously, I don't even have grandkids yet, but I'm planning. I'm getting some great ideas.
We are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. Be careful. Be careful when your grandparents get the Viagra instead of their denture medication, if that makes sense. Yeah. No wonder some of our grandparents are up all night long, like the great Lionel Richie, all night long. Make sure you understand what your meds are. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You better have a smart TV, or you'll be sitting there looking at us through a picture. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say it. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see all of our apps pop up. And I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. It's all fair in love and war. I want to touch on, are you ready for some football? It's time! Week 2 NFL preseason football is in full swing. The majority of the league squaring off Saturday, and then a couple of teams played on Sunday. Tua Tagovailoa was the most notable starting quarterback to see the field Saturday night, performing well for the Miami Dolphins. That good old boy was doing his thing, and full of Devontae Parker and Albert Wilson. Tua Tagovailoa led the Dolphins on touchdowns in his first 2 possessions. Miami's 37-17 win over over the Atlanta Falcons, up to the line of scrimmage. I set formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front, Tua with the snap. He's back to pass, rolling to his right, looks, throws downfield. It is caught for the touchdown! Mercury Morris! Like Mercury Morris, yeah, he came out of retirement. If Terrell Owens can come out of retirement, he can come out of retirement. It's all fair in level war. The great Mercury Morris played for the undefeated Miami Dolphins way back in the day. But Tua, out of St. Louis High School, Honolulu, Hawaii, went to Alabama, actually had a pretty good preseason, and Florida's doing his thing. A great team down there in South Florida. Also, the Baltimore Ravens, it was 20. I want to make sure I gave you the score. It was 37-17 over the Falcons, the Miami Dolphins. The Baltimore Ravens 20, the Carolina Panthers 3. All fair level war. The Ravens matched the NFL record with their 19th straight preseason victory, despite starting their third-string quarterback, the great Tyler Huntley, got the start for Lamar Jackson, known as Superman, in my opinion. And really, when you think about it, Trace McSorley is out with a back injury, but Huntley was 24 of 34, 187 yards, and an interception up to the line of scrimmage. Shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Steelers. Huntley the snap, back to pass, looking left, throwing right, throws downfield, has a man caught in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown! Touchdown, Baltimore! And who caught the pass? None other than the great Ozzie Newsome. Why not? Ozzie Newsome was a part of the building that GM. I love paying homage to our old-timers, something that I'll do more of with Big C Sports. And then you look at Sam Darnold, saw his first action for the Panthers. He was 1 for 2 for 16 yards. And they got rid of touchdown Teddy Bridgewater for him. In the opening series before exiting the game, backup P.J. Walker threw just 2 passes before exiting the game as well. And rookie Terrence Marshall led Carolina with 3 catches for 50 yards. It's all fair in love and war. Backup P.J. Walker up to the line of scrimmage. 4 wideouts, 5-man front. In that snap, he's rolling. P.J. throws downfield, the corner of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown! 50 yards! Chuba Hubbard finished with 53 total yards of offense, all fair in level war. I want to make sure that people keep in mind the Steelers, they got Big Ben Roethlisberger. Not so fast, my friend, when people say he's washed up. Big Ben was more than impressive in his first half for the Steelers. Remember, they were 11-0 last year before things went downhill. You know, 2 touchdown passes to Pat Freiermuth and led Pittsburgh to the win. Up to the line of scrimmage. I set formation. Big Ben drops back in the shotgun formation. A 5-man front by the Lions. The snap. Big Ben looking left. Big Ben throwing right. Look downfield. It is caught for the touchdown! 50 yards! Pat Freiermuth. The Big Ben Roethlisberger can look off the safety. He can look left. He can look right. He can throw it back across his body. And again, his arm looked pretty good. So Big Ben, maybe they were singing his swan song a little too soon. He was finished 8 of 10, 137 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a perfect 158.3 passer rating. The great Najee Harris, Antioch's finest out of Northern California by way of Alabama. Najee Harris had 2 catches, 53 yards. That good old boy was doing his thing for Pittsburgh. Also finished 4 carries, 10 yards. Mason Rudolph started the second half for the Steelers, finished 13 of 18, 138 yards. And then Dwayne Haskins, a 4-7, 56 yards as a third-team quarterback. The Lions did not start Jared Goff out of Marin Catholic by way of Cal Berkeley. And then the LA the LA Rams sent him out after going to the Super Bowl, sent him over to Detroit. So we'll see what happens as things get better for him. David Block injected life into the Lions offense, leading them to 20 points in the fourth quarter. He finished 12 of 17 passing, 143 yards, and a touchdown, a 10-yard pass to Javon McKinley. Block comes up to the line of scrimmage. Shotgun formation, 4 wide out, 5-man front. Block the snap, back to pass, throws up the corner. It is caught for the touchdown! 10-yard pass to Javon McKinley. And the Lions are on the board. It's all fair and love and war. There's another great game that happened in the NFL over the weekend. Major League Baseball is going strong. We just crowned the NBA champion, but people are loving NFL football. CFL football up in Canada's already doing its thing. We love you up in Canada. The Tennessee Titans 34, defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3. Thanks to the joint practices this week, Ryan touchdown Tannehill and touchdown Tom Brady set out this one. The Titans reserve got the better of the Buccaneers reserves in the preseason contest. Matt Barkley led Tennessee going 12 for 16, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Mekhi Sardick led the Titans with 16 carries, 78 yards. Matt Barkley out of Mater Dei of Santa Ana and the USC Trojans up to the line of scrimmage. Has 4 wideouts, a 5-man front by the Buccaneers. Barkley with the snap. Barkley rolling left. Looking, throws back across the field, and it's caught for the touchdown! 20 yards! You know, it's amazing when you think about Barkley was supposed to be the answer coming out of USC. Hasn't quite lived up to his billing, but maybe he'll find some success backing up Tannehill when he gets a chance to come in and play. Had a pretty decent showing for the Tennessee Titans. The great Kyle Trask finished 13 of 26, 131 yards, and 2 interceptions for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Trask up to the line of scrimmage, came out of Florida, has a shotgun formation, 4 wideouts. They have a 5-man front by Tennessee. The snap, Trask rolling to his right, rolling, look downfield, throws, and it's intercepted! Intercepted at the goal line. The safety read his eyes on the play. And Tampa, again, did they really get the right quarterback out of Florida? 50% completion. 13 of 26 for a guy that was up for the Heisman Trophy. We're going to fly into the state of Texas. The Houston Texans 20, Dallas Cowboys 14. Davis Mills led the Texans 115 yards, passing in the victory, playing the majority of the snaps. In relief of the great Tyrod Taylor, it was Mark Ingram who finished with 7 carries, only 24 yards on the score, while Chris Moore finished 2 catches and 33 yards. Houston outscored Dallas 13-0 in the second half. If you look at Ingram, good running back out of the backfield, up to the line of scrimmage. We have shotgun formation. Ingram in the backfield, 5-man front. The snap, turns around, hands off to Ingram. He's into the end zone for the touchdown! A 3-yard run, crossing the goal line behind that big, massive offensive line. They got to get more out of Ingram, obviously, and that will most likely happen. I want to look at Dallas Cowboys. Garrett Gilbert earned the start for the Cowboys, playing 2 series before giving way to Cooper Rush. Rush had an impressive performance, finished 10 of 12, 97 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns for Dallas, 1 to Cedric Wilson. Up to the line of scrimmage, Cooper Rush has shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Texans. The snap, and he's rolling to his left. He's looking downfield. He's looking. He throws to the corner of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown! 30 yards! Cedric Wilson! It's all fair and love and war. Not Dak Prescott, but there's some talk. Is Prescott more injured than they let on? I don't know. I hope he's not. He signed that big contract. I hope that he stays healthy for the Dallas Cowboys. All fair and love and war. Gotta stay healthy. This segment sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on this game. We're going to go to the Indianapolis Colts 12, the Minnesota Vikings 10, and neither Indianapolis or Minnesota scored an offensive touchdown on this one. The lone touchdown being scored on a 33-yard interception return by linebacker Torrey Dye, and then Kirk Cousins finished. He was 5 of 7 for 23 yards. It's all fair and 11 yards, took it to the house. And then Sam Ellinger for the Colts finished 8 of 13, only had 70 yards and 2 interceptions. And I know that no one wants to give Colin Kaepernick a chance because he stood up for Black Lives Matter. But come on, you got some guys in the NFL. I mean, if they can make it, why not get Steve Young out of retirement? I mean, he still has some passing left in his arm. And give Terrell Lawrence a chance. He's in great shape, just like he was when he left the game. And there are people that say, well, maybe he's too old. Not too old. It's all about how strong he is in his mental. He's younger than Tom Brady. I'd love to see T.O. get another chance. The Raiders going into Los Angeles, taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Nathan Peterman, when you think about Nathan Peterman, he was a starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this one tossing the game-winning 29-yard touchdown to Marcel Aitman, along with 2 interceptions, leading the Raiders with 36 yards rushing. When you think about it, Peterman up to the line of scrimmage, shotgun formation, 4 wideouts. They had a 5-man front by the Rams. The Rams resting most people. The snap, Peterman with the snap rolling to his right, looking left, throws to the right, has a man in the corner of the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown! 29 yards! The great Marcel Aitman. Yeah, not Derek Carr. And again, a lot of the starters are being held out of the games, but I still think the Raiders are going to be up against it this year. The Rams are resting a lot of people. They're not even starting some of their starters. If anything, they might give them one series. They want to save these guys for the regular season. Jake Funk led the Rams with 7 carries, 56 yards, while Xavier Jones had 7 carries, 29 yards. The Rams are still seeking a number 2 running back behind Darrell Henderson. It even got me getting my football cleats cleaned off. And with all that Viagra I was taking over the last couple of weeks, I thought I was up for the job, if that makes sense here. I was up all night, may as well play football. Are you ready for some football? Hut 1, Hut 2, Hut 3. I was up all night. All's fair in love and war. I really appreciate my doctor getting my medication. With all these exotic meats, it's all fair in love and war. Speaking of exotic meats, this segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? For those of you who don't know, in the movie Pulp Fiction, one of my favorite movies by the great Sam Jackson, it also starred Uma Thurman. It had the great John Travolta, produced by Quentin Tarantino. And Sam Jackson, before they shot this guy, they were asking Sam Jackson, said, excuse me, did I break your concentration? And after they shot the man, they took his Big C Burger. And Sam Jackson said, man, this is a tasty burger. What's all these exotic meats? He said, what's all these exotic meats? Speaking of exotic meats, the Broncos and the Seahawks, full of exotic meats, and that makes sense to you. Teddy Bridgewater, touchdown Teddy Bridgewater, got the start for Denver in this one, finished 9 of 11, 105 yards, and a touchdown in 2 series. And I was saying all along that Bridgewater appears to have the upper hand on the Broncos starting quarterback job, leading Denver on scores in both of his possessions. I know Locke's been doing his thing. He's also Locke played until the end of the third quarter. He was 9 of 14, 80 yards, and Denver scored on 3 of Locke's 5 possessions, but all were field goals. When you think about what Bridgewater did, I think, just my opinion, he has the ability. Looks a lot more like John Elway when John Elway was throwing touchdowns for the Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater up to the line of scrimmage. We have shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front. And when you think about the Seahawks, this is not the Legion of Boom, but Bridgewater with the snap. He's rolling to his right. He's rolling, looks left, throws right downfield. It is caught for a touchdown! 30 yards! And he threw that one to the great receiver, one of the greatest receivers of all time to play at Denver. Is going to be Big C. How's that for you? All fair level war. But I really like Teddy Bridgewater. His mobility is going to get Denver competing, in my opinion. The Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. But second place, you really got to look at the Chargers. Because of their offense, and their defense was good last year. Their offense just couldn't score when they needed. And their defense, they missed a lot of extra points. If the offense could have converted more first down, they would have had a fewer extra points to try to make, and that would have helped them have a winning season. That's just my opinion. I really look forward to them having a good season. You know, everything's fair in love and war. I want to look at what went on in football with the San Francisco 49ers, because the 49ers, in my opinion, they have so much offered. Is Jimmy G in trouble? When you think about it, because their quarterback can play. I really like what we're seeing in the San Francisco 49ers. Trey Lance is the real deal. And everybody has their own opinion about that. But that good old boy, he is amazing how he can take over a game. And he came in and threw 2 touchdown passes. And again, this is a guy that came out of tiny North Dakota State. And I know people, including myself, say give him a chance to sit the bench for just a couple. Why not let him sit the bench for a couple of games? And I think that'd be the smart thing to do. I only say that because the 49ers, if you look at what happened with Patrick Mahomes when he was in Kansas City, and it didn't hurt him when he sat and backed up Alex Smith, and now look at how he's doing. I really think this boy, or this young man, he had such a great game. If you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you gotta really wonder. The Niners had a 15-10 win in the game. But if I look at what he did, his performance, it's the way that he is in the pocket. He buys you time. He reminds me of Colin Kaepernick. He reminds me of Steve Young. He's more mobile than Joe Montana. That's not blasphemy. He's a kid that can give you what Jimmy G can't. Jimmy G had a rough outing. I still know the Niners are 22-8 with Jimmy G. I would say start Jimmy G. But isn't the best time to trade somebody when you have the highest value for them? And that's what I'm thinking about with the 49ers right now. Because Trey Lance is the real deal. He's not going to go anywhere. I know he has made a couple of rookie mistakes, but the interception he has, even Jimmy G's interception, that was on the tip pass. That was not because he threw a bad pass. So I just want people to keep that in mind. That good boy had a great game, put up some great numbers, and hopefully, I just believe, I mean, again, if you are the 49ers and you look at Trey Lance, do you really put, I mean, come on, people say we got to stand up for our veteran receivers, our veteran linemen, our veteran quarterbacks, because they say quarterbacks got feelings. But if you look at Trey Lance, who can tell me that he's not ready to start for the 49ers? Because he's a real deal. And when I look at his numbers, who's going to say he's not ready? I really think that this kid, he has a great read. He knows what he's doing. He's appeared in 19 games, 17 starts in 3 years, 2018 to 2020 at North Dakota State. Completed 208 of 318 pass attempts. That's 65%. 2,947 yards, 30 touchdowns. He only had 1 interception, along with 192 rushing attempts, 1,325 yards. You think about that. That kid is ready. It's time! The great Bruce Buffer, it's time. The great Trey Lance. So I also know that they want to take care of Garoppolo's ego. They got to keep that. They got to keep that, and they got to protect it for some reason. They cut Colin Kaepernick. It's not like they got to keep him with kid gloves. That's just my opinion. So, making a lot of noise. Everybody's talking about it, whether it comes true or not, that Trey Lance is the future for the 49ers. It's not about waiting until the end of the season. I'll just let him sit 2 or 3 games so you can see what it's like from the sideline and figure it out. Even with limited context, Lance has shown both why he's a top 5 pick with all kind of natural raw talent, also reminding fans he's just 318 pass attempts in college. It's still good to see how dominant he is. He reminds me of Steve Young. He reminds me a lot of Colin Kaepernick. Last downfield attempts have been a thing of beauty. An 80-yard touchdown strike to wide receiver Trent Sherfield in Week 1, followed by a 41-yard completion to Sherfield that helped set up Lance's first touchdown pass of the game against the Bolts. When you think about it, Trey Lance up to the line of scrimmage, shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Chargers. The snap, Lance back to pass, looking left, looking right, throws downfield, and is caught for the touchdown! 30 yards by Trent Sherfield again. But Lance can look off the safety and then throw back across his body, or he can also give you that threat that he's going to take off and run with the ball. You don't get that with Jimmy G. A 64.3 completion percentage is good indication that Lance's accuracy with the football, he's accurate when it counts the most. Of the one thing that you got to think about it, I mean, he's so good at making you think you got to stand in for the run because he can run. He can also pass. He can do so many things with his legs and his arm. I really like what he's doing, and I think by week 3 that he should be, just my opinion from Big C Sports, and everybody has their own opinion, by week 3, that good old boy should be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. Everybody has their own opinion. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, otherwise known as the Big C Timeout. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back for the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. Today is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Won't you be my neighbor? Do you think they gave, of all the animal and all the young characters that they used to run, like Bugs Bunny? You know, Bugs Bunny and the Wile E. Coyote, they were always at each other. What made the Bugs Bunny have so much energy? I kind of feel like they were giving Bugs Bunny some Viagra with the exotic meats, if that makes sense to you. All fair and level war. I think I saw a Pretty Cat. I think I saw a Pretty Cat. All fair and level war. Major League Baseball, beautiful schedule, August 23rd. On Monday, the pitch hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. We fly in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Arizona Diamondbacks. And keep in mind, on the mound, pitching Humberto Mejia. Keep in mind also, when David Peralta comes up to the bat, that's my prop betting story that I'll give that to you. Going to fly out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, into the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. And we're going to have the Chicago White Sox, the great Tony La Russa, coming into town. We have the 3-2 is the count, the pitch. Hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend, the great Toronto Blue Jays. The Chicago White Sox, they're a really good team. Keep in mind, pitching for Toronto is Alec Moa. And then when you think about at the bat, Brian Goodwin. Those are some names. Also, Yohan Moncada. And when you think about that, my prop better said give those names, but I don't want to give out much more than that because I want to keep all my fingers. What's all those exotic fingers, if that makes sense to you? Don't want my fingers ended up on the Big C burger unless I'm holding that burger in my hand. And again, I can verify it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand, as do most things in life. Gonna fly out of Canada into the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson Hartfield. The New York Yankees are in town, and this team is coming on strong. We have the count is 3-2. The pitch, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run! All fair in Atlanta, the house that Hank Aaron built. Keep in mind, pitching for the Yankees, George Montgomery, when he's pitching. And then at bat, you got to keep in mind when you hear the name of George Soler, also Ozzie Albies. Keep that in mind for my prop betting. I don't want to give out too much because baseball's full of prop bets. And last thing I want is someone knocking at my door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor. Don't open the door and don't let them in. If that makes sense to you. That's why you don't turn your back on the prop betting because some of them don't fight fair. I'm going to fly out of the beautiful city of Atlanta. Going to fly into Chicago O'Hare International Airport. The Cubs will host the Colorado Rockies. Now the Rockies come in 14 wins and 45 losses on the road. The Cubs are 31-31. The great Harry Carey says, take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Well, they haven't had a lot of success in Chicago. They're only 54-72. The Rockies are 57-67. The pitch, hit deep. Left field, back to the wall, home run. It's all fair in level war. Keep in mind, on the mound, Antonio Zizella. He's a 4.58 ERA. That good boy. Not quite a Jedi Knight, not quite a gunslinger, but he can do his thing on the mound. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to baseball doing the thing as the crowd's coming back to baseball. Also, Kyle Hendricks pitching. When you hear him up for the Cubs, he has a 4.04 ERA. So I say he's a gunslinger. He's a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. Also, going to fly out of the city of Chicago into Houston International Airport. And Dusty Baker's doing his thing. The Astros, They are 39-24 in the season at home. They are 73-51 overall. The Royals are 23-37 on the road and 55-68 overall. The pitch count is runners on first and second. The pitch hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home runs. All fair in love and war. The girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. The away pitcher for the Royals is Daniel Lynch. He has a 5.12 ERA. Nothing to write home about. But for Dusty Baker's friend is the great Zach Greinke. He's 11-3 on the season. He has a 3.43 ERA. He's a flamethrower. He's a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. Keep in mind when he's up to bat. Also, going to fly out of the city of Houston over to the west coast, the beautiful city of Oakland, California. Oakland International Airport. Seattle Mariners are in town. The Mariners are 30-33 on the road, 67-50 overall. The A's are 35-27 at Oracle Coliseum. They are 70-55 overall. And we have runners on first and second. The pitch, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend, the Oakland Athletics. They can go yards. Had a good series over the weekend with the San Francisco Giants. And pay attention to the pitcher for Seattle Mariners, Marco Gonzalez. Has a 4.01 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. The home pitcher for the Oakland Athletics is the great Paul Blackburn, and he has a 5.06 ERA. Nothing to write home about, but the A's are right there. They got to decide, do they want to win baseball? We're talking baseball. The city by the bay, are they going to get into the playoffs? I doubt if they're going to challenge Houston for the division. All fair and level, we'll see. Going to fly out of Oakland going to fly into Boston Logan International Airport, and the Texas Rangers are flying into Boston, beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. And we have the count runners on first and third. The pitch, hit left field, back to the wall, home run over the Green Monster. It's all fair in level war. You got to have a lot of power to hit over the Green Monster, and pay attention to the Boston Red Sox. They love having batting practice, if that makes sense to you, good old boys from Texas. On the mound, Dennis Santana for Texas. And then pay attention to Garrett Whitlock for the home team, Boston Red Sox. I love so much of what's going on in the world of baseball. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and level more. So that's Big C's thoughts for Major League Baseball. I'm going to cover also later this week the teams that are Big C's power rankings. I really love bringing that to you in the sports universe. So many things are important. Like my mom always says, rise and shine. You got to always rise and shine. When you go to the doctor, men and women, to get your checkup, you know, they give women things to have them stay up all night too. And whatever it is, maybe it's diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. I've done a survey. I'm going to do it now. For all of you women, if you could have the love of your life, I mean the love of your life that gives you diamonds, or not have the love of your life and give you $1 million, which one would you take? I think most women would take the diamonds. I was watching the show. It's called The Housewives of the Potomac. They have some most beautiful African-American women, some of the most beautiful women in the history of the universe. So it's on the Potomac in Virginia area, D.C. area. And they had these women that were being very catty. Some were tearing down the relationships of other relationships. And there was this one woman, she was talking to this woman that was so beautiful. She was saying how your husband's no good, and I don't like your husband, and he's a no good man. And if I were you, I would leave that husband because he's no good man, even though the woman tried to sleep with him. And the woman said, listen, you do not talk about my husband. You do not talk about my family. If you say anything about my husband or my family, I'm going to beat your blankety blank, blobbity blop, blibbity blip. And the woman knew what she said. And she said, well, I'm just trying to tell you. It's like you don't talk about my husband. He's off limits. That's between me and my husband. What we do, we'll deal with it in the house. And she said, how are you going to defend your husband who sleeps around with multiple women giving you STDs, and you have the nerve to keep him around your own children, and you got the nerve to talk about my husband? Sometimes women can invite other women into their household problems, and some of those women have a police record. Their husbands have messed around on them, moved out of the house, and moved in with their girlfriends. beat them up, slap them upside the head, and knock them around, call them all kind of the B words, you blankety blank blip and you blankety blank blap. And then some women will call that woman to get advice about their own relationship. And when they're tired of the drama, they all go back to their own misery. And they live in their own glass houses. And they can't throw stones. But now their husbands are saying, why are you out so late at night? You normally home at 11 o'clock. What are you out doing? And a lot of those women, they go back to their own problems. So ladies or men, don't let people come into your house and try to destroy your family or destroy the foundation of your family. And then they go back home to their own jacked up families. Some of them got husbands who are alcoholics, who like to go out and pay for certain things. What's all these exotic meats? Got so many fires going off in California, like Noah's, like 10 Commandments, so many fires going off. Got to call the fire department to put the fire out. Things are burning so much, burning bushes. It's all friend level where mind your own business. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Joe Bodini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young men, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? And mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, please pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, what's all these exotic beats? We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.